Welcome back to Dry Arabia for another casted game. On the south side in the blue we have Eliona as Roos going for the double hunting cabin open, and on the north side in the orange we have Core as the English. Now both of these guys stream on Twitch, very high level players, so I'm going to put their links in the descriptions if you haven't seen them already. A great watch. Eliona often streams in French, I believe, so if you're into le français then you can enjoy that, but both of their players play loads of different civs, loads of great streams, and definitely a great thing to watch. Now if we talk about their scouting, as their scouts are running around, Eliona almost getting caught out by the TC there, just about escaping. Court didn't do the villager pull and try and snipe out that that first scout. We can also see that Eliona does have a second scout in queue that's about to pop out, so as the Roos, generally going for more than one scout is a classic opener, especially now that Roos don't need to mine gold because they get the bounty and the passive gold from gathering sheep and deer. You don't actually, and also from the hunting cabins, you don't also really need to do that, so you can afford that little extra food still. So even though it's not doing the 80 bunty game at the beginning of the match where you're trying to snipe out all of the deer, it's still really good to go for both of those scouts. Core going for a very classic scouting path down the middle and then across around his side of the map, so doing generally pretty well, but he's English, he doesn't care if he gets loads of sheep, he can build cheap farms. But in this kind of matchup, and especially at this level, I definitely think it's something that you need to be really careful with, because at lower levels you can probably afford to chuck a ton of farms down because they are half price, they're super cheap, and they also gather more quickly, but spending all of those resources on farms is still resources that you could be spending elsewhere. So actually I think at this level Core's going to have to be really careful that he doesn't fall into that trap of just building tons and tons of farms, because Roos is going to have the bounty, they're going to have all of that quicker gathering rate and all of that passive gold, and so you can't really afford to just sit back and assume that the English farms are going to save you, especially if you need to be getting map control, securing gold. Also, Roos might just go fast castle without even mining any gold. We've seen that a lot recently as well. Looking at the landmarks, we can see Abbey of the Kings in the base for Core going up with 3 villagers, or 4. It says, no, 3, yep. So slightly slower there, so we might be seeing a second TC from him. No one on stone just yet, but we'll have to wait and see what he is planning. Emil going down looking for maybe a cheeky wheelbarrow. On the bottom side we've got the Golden Gate. Now this has definitely come much more into favour since the bounty changes, because obviously this landmark is really great. It's one of the best landmarks if you ask around, and it just gives favourable trades. So every 50 seconds you basically get a better trade, so it's like trading with the market, but you always get the best possible rate. So you can use it to buy stone for a TC, you can buy a fast castle, and because a lot of the gold is passive, it just means throughout the game you're able to spend those resources very effectively, and you're not just using a market and crashing the market, because obviously when you're trading with the market, you do have to be careful that for everyone involved in that particular match, the more of one resource you buy or you sell, it does actually affect the price. So if somebody goes and sells like 20,000 food, then the price for food is going to be really terrible. With the Golden Gate, that kind of doesn't happen. So looking at it at the moment, we can see that Eliona is quite heavy on wood, so I'd be expecting that he's probably going to be either going for a TC. He's not on the stone, but obviously he can just buy the stone if he wants to, or he might actually be going into some aggression. If we take a look over on Core's side, he's also very heavy on wood, but no stone. So the king is going to be coming out. Obviously the king takes 50 seconds now, so he's going to have to try and get that out as well. Scout on scout action outside the English gold, and all of them glowing, telling them that there's someone in the vicinity. Stables coming down, so this, I think I really like this play. Doing a stables with the king I think is really nice. You keep that mobility, the king can use its healing ability as well. It's just such a shame that English don't have knights. If they had knights with a king with that healing ability, almost like a mini chivalry, that would just be incredible. But Core's going pro scouts. So the mill wasn't for wheelbarrow, it was for pro scouts. So both players planning on pro scouting. Okay, not seen this one before. So This, I think, is potentially an interesting play because obviously the Rus get loads of resources from the deer. So if we see here that we've got a couple, only 3 scouts coming out now, and it looks like Eliona is going to be going for his safe deer pack. Often you will see most players going for the exposed ones, so actually trying to steal, for example, the ones by English and then getting these ones later. So maybe he knows that Kor is going to be going for Pro Scouts himself, we'll have to see, but he is going for some spears, which I guess will defend against the knights, the king, the horses, whatever it is that he thinks that Kor is going for. But yeah, normally you do want to deny these deer because if they get all of the deer under their TC, that's just a huge amount of food and gold, and their economy just goes absolutely bonkers. If we take a look on Kor's side, if we follow his scouts, they're all going for the safe deer. So we've got the king guarding the deer pack on the bottom side, checking that nobody's down there, just making sure those scouts aren't getting it. And the other ones are going and grabbing the ones at home. So it looks like it's probably going to be one deer pack a piece confirmed, and then it'll be whoever can micro more effectively. So this pack is already almost all hoovered up, and Eliona interestingly is adding in more scouts. So this is something, when you're doing Pro Scouts, the more scouts you invest in, the less resources you're getting sort of back, if that makes sense. If you can manage to get all 4 deer packs with 2 scouts, it takes a lot longer, but then obviously you're getting way more return on that investment. Whereas if you end up making 10 scouts, potentially you've used a lot of the food you've got for that. So King coming in for a little charge, trying to get a hit, obviously not as strong as a French knight. Normally a French knight with a charge and a slap can get 1 villager down, so that villager just about getting away with 10 there. So we can also see horsemen trying to come down here to deny this deer pack from Eliona as his scouts are running over. Spears also coming to defend as well because he knows that Kor doesn't want him to have all that juicy venison. Now that guy is taking a lot of damage, and just these 2 spears are going to mean that Eliona is probably more than capable now of taking all of this deer. He's also already grabbed the one at home, so trying to bring all of these guys down. The archers also the longbow's trying to take out those spears as well. So it looks like that's kind of the play. Or one horse getting caught by that brace, that's why he's stuck there waiting for action. Trying to get on top of the scouts there. The scouts are also slower when they're carrying the venison, so we can see there, nice little bit of micro there from Eliona. If you drop the deer, you do get this normal speed back. So a couple of those longbows trying to take out the spears, but there's just not enough of these longbows to get enough of the spears down. So he's denied 3 of those deer so far, and Kor is also getting the ones at home. One of the guys just chilling at the back, waiting to be told where to place it. So this is one of the problems as well, I think. Once the deer has all been killed, you actually have to manually go and place them all back. So it's a little bit more micro, a bit like the olden days of Pro Scouts. Now, if we take a look, we've got the High Trade House. Look how quickly he's managed to do that. Even making all those scouts and stuff like that, he's done that, and his gold income is going to be absolutely insane. Really nice little High Trade House here. I don't know enough about the numbers to do a guess like I often see people doing, but it's a pretty decent one. There's not really a better woodline maybe right back here, but you know, I think this one being relatively safe is better. Spears on the defense there, keeping the king and the horsemen off. They're going to try and do as much damage as they can to these villagers. A couple of them probably going to go down in this fight, but that landmark is going to go up. Kor looks like he'll be very close to getting up as well shortly, and the spear there just running straight out the rally point out there, and the longbows are going to be able to get that down. But if the king's not careful, that's going to go down. Are they just going to, yeah, the villager's going to get on top of the king. Oh, that's really bad for Kor. So king going down, villagers also taking out the horsemen, and the spears taking out longbows. So yeah, they do counter them, but two longbows don't counter 4 or 5 spears. That's just not how this game works. So now, if we take a look at the deer packs, we can see Kor's just hoovering up that last one. Eliona got that, so 2 apiece, which is actually quite a lot of investment for the amount of deer that you're going to be getting. So Kor is actually going up with the King's Palace, interestingly enough. So he's worried about that eco, which I think as English he definitely should be. So now going to be on 2 TC, he's going to be able to compete. Obviously, Eliona with the High Trade House is very easily going to be able to shift into a 2 TC as well, so Kor is going to have to keep an eye on that. And we can see a couple of archery ranges, so I'm I'm predicting some horse archers are probably going to be appearing on the horizon. Super strong, and Eliona definitely has the micro to make the most of them, because horse archers need to be microed effectively to do it, because they don't shoot while they're running. So you have to really shoot and move and kiting and all that kind of good stuff. I say good stuff, it's the things these guys are able to do that, you know, myself, I am not. We can see also that we've got a couple of these warrior monks coming out to grab the relics, because that's going to be a nice little addition to the gold income. And if we switch over to the income per minute, we can see what's going on. Now, this is the amazing thing. So look, this gold, nobody's touching this gold, so there is no gold being mined. They don't have any relics yet, and there's still 250 gold a minute for Roos. This is just absolutely insane. We can see a scout now getting chased by the other scouts as the warrior monks are grabbing the relics and given some nice paths to scoot home to try and not get detected by these units. So looking at this, we've got spear horse archers, and on the other side we've got some monks coming in to try and grab some relics on Kor's side as well. We've got knights, and then I imagine we'll be seeing some sort of longbows because it's English, they're doing English things. So Eliona pulling all of his units together, and these guys can do a lot of damage. Their base damage 12 is huge. So if you can micro them well enough, like this king is not going to be having a great time if he doesn't take it effectively. The warrior monk trying to take out the monk there, but not going to be able to do it. The horse archers all focusing on the monk rather than the knights and the king. So now trying to pull them back to get to the spears, and look at that damage on that longbow. So this is where you can be in real trouble with these. So scout on scout action again. These guys love fighting with the scouts, but Kor is getting his upgrades in. So as his scout is going in on the bottom side, just causing some chaos. But he's going for forestry, which is an interesting choice. I wouldn't usually go for forestry before double broadaxe, to be perfectly honest. Maybe it's a misclick. Who knows? But at the moment, Eliona's forces are looking pretty strong, but the eco difference is really going to start paying off for him very soon. So Eliona knows this, and we can see already he's now shifting over to stone so he can get a TC. He's already got all of the wood. He can still produce tons of units because he's got a nice little production base going on at home. And he's also going to be going for these relics around the sacred site. So that little ping did tell Kor where he is, but also the scout is there, so he's going to know one way or the other. So we can see some orange units coming in, the knights and the king, the knights of Kor's round table coming in to try and deny the high trade house. And oh, really nice here from Eliona. I love this. So using the scouts to pull the deer in from the high trade house to the TC. That's really clever. I like that. It's because basically the high trade house will spawn the deer around. You can see another one over here, but because you've got pro scouts, you can just pull them back in. That's great. Oh, I really like that. It's oh yeah, I'm going to have to try and use that one of these days myself. So all in all, it looks like Eliona's come off on top of the relic gain, 3 to him and 2 to Kor, which I think is pretty decent considering Kor was up a little bit later, and he's already on 2 TC. He's not going to be looking at a third, so whether he's scouted this one and maybe Eliona's going for a risky 3 TC now. So he's decided that he wants to outboom double. So now it looks like he's going to be gathering up to try and get another TC down. So I imagine maybe on gold, possibly, maybe just on this wood line over here and then just secure that up. But we've got the knights here healing up with the king, trying to do some damage, and we've got a scout just causing problems on this sacred site, keeping that decapped. Also, this one on the other side being decapped, both of them trying to fight over the sacred sites, but this is where a lot of horses coming in now for Kor. So he's seen the horse archers and he wants to get better mobility, and also he wants to do more damage, because if we take a little look at these guys, they are light ranged cavalry, which means because they are light ranged, the horses will do bonus damage, because if memory serves, these guys get bonus damage against ranged. Exactly. So really nice there. We've got all of the spears chasing the king round. The king has gone down, and that's a huge amount of spears at home. Second TC or third TC, where are you going? Has he put it down? No, not yet. So all of these guys chasing. A couple of these horse archers going to have to be careful. If those horses just turn around, they're going to get a nice little slap on. But we've also got some crossbows to go against the knights. So I think this little composition shift from Kor may actually catch Eliona off guard, because if he can do this properly, then all of those units are going to be countered by the horsemen, and the king is going to be able to just give them a little bit of healing. So we can also see that there's another king in queue for Kor, and he's massing up a huge number of units on the back. Obviously longbows, because that also counters the horse archers, because any of these ranged cavalry units, if we can find some of them wherever they are, here we go, they don't have ranged armor, so they don't take bonus damage from range, but obviously they don't stop it either. So that's basically what you want to be doing, is against these guys, Mangudai, Camel Archers, you want walls and you want ranged units. Also a front TC, that's a bold choice. Obviously, it's obviously near the deer, but I definitely would have stuck it back here. Obviously, I'm a little more nervous of raids and I don't have the micro to do that, so I'd have put it somewhere behind and safe. Also, I'd have put it somewhere where it's not going to be seen, because actually if Kor, he's closing in his base now, so this is something I think is interesting. He's put the TC here, which means Kor knows that he's going to be on 3TC, because he should have seen, or he knows that he's on 2 at least. If he'd put it back here, if Kor doesn't scout actually all the way into the base, he might not know he's on multiple TC, which would allow Eliona to really get in a little bit later. We can see these monks getting caught out by the horses. Oh, nice little pull round from Kor there, trying to get a surround, but they just kept moving. Not quite the hits he needed to take that guy out, but they are faster, so they are going to be able to take out the warrior monk in a couple more hits, and that's a nice little bit of damage to Eliona's forces. Military looking very, very similar. I think I'd probably favour the English composition in this case. A huge amount of ranged units, and I think Eliona's going to have to think about his own horse switch now to go with his horse archers, because these guys are going to get absolutely shredded by what Kor is putting out on the field. We can also see that he's bridging the gap with the villagers now, so he's getting very, very close, and he must be mining some gold somewhere. He's not. How is it? How? So Eliona's splitting up his units here, trying to take the horse archers round. These guys definitely want to be getting on top of these if they can, but the archers are going to be moving out with these knights, and this is going to be very dangerous for these horse archers. If they get caught by these longbows, they are going to melt. Let's watch this. Look at those guys going down quickly. That's 3 already down. Oh, another little charge going on there, and that's going to be another 4, 5, so that's a huge number of those horse archers going down and doing absolutely no damage. The walls are trying to come up. Eliona's trying to put a stop to this as he's building back up his eco lead. But just with the relics and with all that passive gold, he's somehow able to keep up 600 gold a minute without being on gold. Is just absolutely insane. But Kor's doing a really great job. We can see he's already got his English farms, and they obviously get the nice little buff that he's in the castle age. He gets 25% extra gather rate as well. Trying to burn down these fortified palisades, which obviously have a lot more health than the normal walls. So we can see 2,500 over here, and on Kor's side it's 1,250, so they are a lot stronger and they take a lot more to do. Also doesn't have a huge amount of melee units, so it's taking a little while. But is Eliona moving into position? Here he is. So he shifted his villagers round. I definitely love to see all of his Woodvilles just move on the back over here, because that's a super safe position. But they're actually gathering through the gate, through one berry patch. Oh no, that's open. Oh dear. So TC's garrisoned, trying to get as much damage. This is really nice work from Eliona. Keeping a TC's garrison like this is going to be doing a huge amount of damage. But look at those ranged units. They're just absolutely shredding all of those horse archers, and they're taking out the spears. If he loses this spear mass, then this is going to be really, really bad for Eliona. Also, Kor's noticed the villagers putting the walls up. Oh, that's going to be a really nice little hit to his economy. And here we go. Eliona's having to shift back. Fighting under this TC and the wooden fortress isn't very good for Kor. This is going to lose a lot of units, and we do see some horsemen being added into the fray. So this is very big dive. He's obviously pulled his cavalry out, but all of those ranged units are going to be going down. So this is a massive, massive hit to Kor's military. If we take a little look at the numbers, it's still pretty even, and he's trying to flood more units over, focusing very heavily. Oh, he's also adding in men-at-arms as well now. So this is going to be interesting. So 87 versus 77. Core got 14 villagers, but I don't think Eliona knows. His gates are open. It built a wall around one berry bush, and they've gathered it, and so now that's open, so they will be able to actually get through there. If Core somehow accidentally just decides to right click on the base from this side of the map, he's going to just run straight through there and realize it's not actually sealed. And if you're like me and have been caught by a single tree being chopped down and having a gap in your wall, you're going to be a very, very sad gamer. We can see Sacred Site being decapped again on this side as the cavalry is running around and the men-at-arm blob is being built. We can see Core's also planning on going out onto the gold over here with a keep, and obviously the English keeps also work as production facilities, so he's going to be able to build some nice bit of siege from here if he wants to. Mangonel from Eliona, so he's also thinking about his own siege to try and counter the archer ranged mass, but he needs to rebuild this wall and finish off the one at the front, otherwise he's going to be in quite a bit of trouble. Core's villagers caught out there, cancelling that keep before he loses the resources, trying to build it up again on the front line, just going to lose these villagers, and oh no, his longbow's stopping it. Oh, that's so terrible. When you've got a unit in the position, unless they move, you can't actually start building it, so some of those villagers really getting damaged because of that. But I don't think Eliona has enough crossbows to take on this many men-at-arms. You need such a good front line to keep your ranged units safe while these guys are running around. The Chad-at-arms doing it, Mangonel just tickling their armor, not doing a huge amount, and those men-at-arms are going to be able to get straight on top of that Mangonel. There is no way that's getting through the gate, surely. Just about, oh my god, just about making it through, saving that Mangonel by the skinny skin of its chinny chin chin, and here we go. Keep is going to be going up for Core, and Eliona's going to have to rally now. He's got a huge number of units outside his base, 53 to 19. The villager difference, 30 villagers have gone down because Core found the opening. He got in. Oh dear. So he's either got in here or in that little opening, and he's just killed 15 villagers while Eliona's been working on that keep. Oh, that's a massive hit to the economy, and the difference he's built up being on 3 TC is just not doing it. So these knights are there fighting in the base, and the men-at-arm blob is storming the gates and working their way in to try and do damage, focusing on just taking out these military units and also hitting those villagers hard. Mangonel there, but there's no ranged units in this mass. They're not going to be able to do anything there. Eliona did notice that must have been where he got in. He's just refilled that refilled the gate. He's finished building the wall. All of the villagers down here need to be very careful. Those men-at-arms are focusing on the military for now, but if one or two of them get into the farms, this is going to be really bad. Crossbows there, moving, shifting around out of any range of defensive structures, trying to take out villagers. Mangonel getting taken down by some spears on the back. Men-at-arms on these. This is absolute English carnage, getting charged from all angles. Eliona's forces 12 against 25, and Core's going Imperial at the same time. He's got the Wingard Palace, he's got this gold, but oh, he does have a mining camp. Okay, he did remember. And we can see now all of these farms are idle. It's 36 villagers going down, even more of them going down, trying to get more food. Even with all this, his food income is still pretty decent, but he just needs to mass up now. Eliona doesn't want to lose a lot of these units here and there. He needs to make sure that he can mass up to fight what's coming into his base. And he's not going to get housed. He's got an absolute ton of houses, so he's absolutely fine on that. But the sacred sites are also ticking. 8 minutes left. So Eliona is going to have to decap one of these, maybe even sending one horseman over here to try and stop that, just to take that pressure off, because now Core is in Imperial. He's getting tithe bonds for his 2 relics, and he's got enclosures coming straight away. So if you see all of these farms, they are going to start generating all of that extra gold every 6 seconds. So this is where you can see the Imperial farm spam is beginning, and he's just going to make an absolute ton of these. He's not going to need gold anymore, and he's just going to print men-at-arms like a crazy person. Core's villagers getting caught out there, but there's more military doing that. We can see Core from the swarm on the minimap is regrouping all of his forces into one place. He's also being really greedy and still going out and taking all of the gold on the map. I think Eliona actually has started to mine some gold here. 4 villagers on gold, because as Roos, who needs more than that? And he's going to have to be thinking about what he's going to do to come back into this one. Lots of farms going down at the back with a nice little hunting cabin. Obviously, this passive income income is definitely still keeping him in the game. If we look at the resources at the top, he's still keeping in it, and with the 3 TC, he's definitely matching those villagers very, very quickly. But the military, I'm a little bit scared for him. He might have the same numbers, but I don't think horsemen are going to be able to tank up these men-at-arms well enough with all of their upgrades and that armor. 8 melee, 8 ranged, even with these crossbows getting their bonus damage if we can find one. They would do 23 a hit, 8 of that taken away, so 15 damage per hit. You see 150, it's 10 shots. If you've got all of these men-at-arms, you're going to have 10 crossbows or 11 crossbows that can take one out, and that's going to be kiting till kingdom come. So he's going to be in a really tough spot. Definitely needs to keep all of these units together and seal up this wall so we can take a better engagement. Also, maybe even just some wooden fortresses or some defensive structures. This is a fight that I would not like to be on. Eleona is getting really heavily pushed here. All of those English ranged units. We've got the Wingard Rangers with their insane range. Look at that, taking out the crossbows from literally across the other side of the map. Mangonel going to try and do it, but the Wingard Rangers, you have to be really careful because they do actually outrange the siege. So is Eleona going to get a shot off? He is. Oh, that's quite a big one. Those Wingard Rangers are actually very expensive. Horsemen getting on top of him now. It looks like Core's going to lose a lot if he's not careful, but the men-at-arms are the tankiest of tanky front lines. Tower going up to give him the network of citadels. If he's already got his Imperial tech, which we can't see right now, then he's going to be able to get even more attack speed from that. He's building towers in the base as well to extend that network to make all of his infantry do a huge amount, but the Wingard targeting that Mangonel, taking that out, and we can see here, looks like Eleona's defending pretty well, but the men-at-arms are just slowly whittling him down. We need a lot more crossbows and we need to take out this ranged mass if we can. Also, there's no defensive structures in this wooden fortress, so that's not doing it, but Eleona pulling back into the base, definitely the right call. Doesn't want to be losing these units in little fights here and there, but the English numbers are really starting to flood in. 66 against 17. Even with the eco, he's just not quite able to mass up as much, and we can just see the absolute flood of units coming over from Core's side. And with enclosures, his gold income has just absolutely skyrocketed. He's almost at max population, 22 men-at-arms versus 8 crossbows, and this is looking very, very dire. Eleona doing his best to defend as much as he can against those Imperial horsemen, but they are going to be able to take out the spears and those crossbows very, very easily. Another Mangonel on the top trying to come in and do some damage, but it looks like Core may have got his number and Eleona calls it. What an amazing match. English stomping the Rus and a ton of action. But check both of these guys out on Twitch, and I'll see you next time for some more Age of Empires action.